Hey friends, welcome back to ARC tutorials. This is Angular 16 step-by-step CRUD tutorial series. We are building a credit card admin portal where we will be able to manage all the credit cards and learn how to implement, create, read, update and delete functionality in Angular 16. This is part 8 of the series. If you have missed out on the first 7 parts, you have missed quite a bit. I would request you to kindly go through them to see what we are building. We are building a credit card portal from scratch, which would have all the functionality of add, search, advanced search, filtering, edit, delete, and much more. So make sure that you go through the first 7 parts. Today, we are learning how to implement specific data, that is, how to read specific data. As part of this series, I'm trying to cover all the important concepts and features of Angular 16, including the latest ones like signals. Today, what we are going to do, we are going to implement the read by ID functionality, which is to read a specific record. Also, we'll fix up some of the defects that are there and we'll keep progressing on building this solid application. Let's get started. So first, let me fix up this issue. In the last episode, we saw that this functionality was not working. So let's go ahead and check that out. So for that, I'm going to go to db.json. And right now, I think we have only few records, so we can't really test it. So I'm going to create a bunch of data here just by copy pasting. So when you work with any API tool, make sure that you work with the bulk of data because you will have a lot of use cases like pagination, search, etc. So right now I have 5 and you see now the functionality is working. So it was not broken. It's just that we didn't have enough data on it, right? So that's the reason it didn't show up, but now it's working as expected. So this is good. Okay. So it was the data issue, not really the issue of the functionality. Alright, so this is done. Let's go ahead. Now today what we'll do, we'll introduce two buttons here or links, edit and delete. What they will do is when we click on view, it should take us to view. When we click on edit and delete respective functionality, right? So let's go ahead and build that in the today we'll be using a new component which is view. Alright, so view is where we will build, where we can view that. But before we go there, first let's go to credit cards component.ts file, and in this credit cards component let's add a new column in the displayed columns list and call it actions. Okay, so in the display columns I'm adding a new one, and in the HTML what we will do is create those links. So I am in credit cards component HTML. Now what you can do is copy this exactly container as it is, and here instead of recommended score we'll make it actions, and actions are nothing but the edit and delete that we want to provide. Now what we will do next is simply give links and create that particular element. So I'm going to show you how to do that using router link. Alright, let's go ahead and get rid of this. Now here I'm going to build two links and I'm going to call it like I told you, I'll use router link. Okay, so let's use router link, and here it will be an array. Router link always takes an array, so you can give the path to where it has to go, and followed by, since we already have the element, we know that it has ID. Next we will close this and call it edit, copy one more and let's call it delete. Let's call it delete. Alright, and you can copy one more and call it edit. Alright, let's go ahead, see in the application, show it shows like this: edit, delete, right? Okay, we have two edits. In this should be view. So view, edit and delete, we have these options. The other way that we can also do is use icon. We have already used an icon model earlier, so we can use a lot of bulk of icons that are available to use. So in this you can see some examples that are like home, you can see here the code. You can see mat icon, right? A fan icon. So I'm going to use this icon instead of this text. Let's call it I don't know if that's one of the things. It says mat icon is not a known element, and that is because I think we added that model here. Did we add? We added the icon module. Let's see why it is still giving error. We imported. Is this a standalone? Let's check. If yes, then we need to put it in our module also. So that's why. So let's import mat icon module and include it in our credit cards module. Okay, so it's not showing because we don't have that list of icon, but I'm sure we can fix that by placing this here in the instead of that. I'm just going to see if home works. So home is working, um, and then what we can do is instead of this we can give other icon and font icon. The name of that is I think delete. Let's see if delete is there. Delete is there, right? And then you have something called view. Does do we don't have view. um, we have edit, right? So what I'm going to do for now, I'm just going to keep this home for view, and for delete we will use the delete icon. Okay, let me make it bigger so you can clearly see it, and let me break it down so you it's much easy for you to understand and follow. Alright, so I'm going to copy this link as it is 2 times, and here I'm going to call it edit. Here I'm going to call it delete in the route, and this will be my delete icon, this will be my edit icon. So let's say view, edit and delete. Okay, some things if you don't want in more specific ways, we can again improve the design. I don't want to waste your time in doing that today. Let's go ahead and fix up the view. Okay, so I'm going to click here on the view, so it will take me to view slash view works, right? View 1, it takes me to working as expected. So let's go ahead and fix that API first. So close everything you don't need. Now we are in view. Now go to view. This is where we will capture that value and display it. So let's go ahead and implement that functionality. So first what we'll do, simple, it's a constructor. So I'm going to have a credit card details is of type credit card. All right, we got this here. Then what, and we can explicitly mention it like this so we don't get error. I'm going to create a constructor and have a private instance of credit card service and credit card service. All right, now in constructor I'm going to initialize this dot credit card service dot get credit card by ID. That's the method we will use. Let's for example pass an ID value of 3, and then we will again subscribe. What subscription will do is get us the observable, and then we will say the data is of type credit card, and we will subscribe to that data. Simply we will just assign the value that we have got from the API. That's all we need to do in the component class. We are calling the service, we are calling the method get credit card by ID, passing an ID. This will be dynamic. For now I have made it static. We are subscribing, getting the data and mapping it back. Now in the HTML what we need to do, it's a template, right? So what we will do is simply use a h1 and say credit card details, and I'm going to define, I'll show you the errors also, so let's do that. First I'm going to put a div, and I'm going to say the name of the variable was credit card details, so copy this, and you can go and type ID, copy this again, and here you will write, say, bank name. I want to show you the errors, so you can see here now you're getting the data correctly for number 3. If you look at this data, we have 1, 2 and 3, which is the Chase Bank, and bank name is Bank of America. If you change the name, it should show different, so it's showing the Chase Bank, which is what is coming from the API. However, if you open your console, you will see some errors, and this is one of the most common errors that you would come across. And the reason for this error is because the data was not available when the view was rendered. Okay, that's the most common error that you would see when you're working. To fix that, what we can do is I'm going to wrap it inside a mat card and call it class equal to mat card. So now it's aligned, and here we have used the same mat card div class mat card, same we can use here, and instead of div we will use content projection, which means I'm using ng container. Now with a condition, I will say if this data is available, then only display the container, and now you should not see those errors. Okay, so now it's a clean build. If you don't have this ng container, it would give you an error. Let me show you again, because these are the errors that you will run into real time. You see here the error is coming, it says cannot read properties of undefined. But however, data is coming here. You can see here data is coming. That's because when the page was launched, it was not available, and hence this error. When data was available, it printed it. That's why we need to put this condition ng container, and now see the error is gone. Okay, so we will style this up, but let's check if we are getting all the values correctly, and we will decorate this page in just a bit. Now you can use bank name, description, all the fields that you have. You can use it for display max credit. Okay, it says interest rate, not interest. Okay, then recommended score, active. So basically this is a view of one particular, now you're getting it in all in one, so instead you can have it in divs, right? And same thing again, styling wise, you can use a list, you can use a table, anything for that. That's up to us. So once you have the data available, you can really play with it the way you want it. So let me align this correctly, and let me put the closing divs. Pretty basic template structure that I'm using. I'm not making it complicated, trying to use the existing mat components to make it look good. So we have the mat card. Now I don't see the styling, and the reason being that it's in this, if you see, the mat card is in this credit card component. So instead, since I want to reuse it, I'm going to put it in the app component. That way it's available across. Now let's go ahead, we can fix those UI issues, small things, but the main part was to get the data mapped from API, which we have done. Now you can use some of the things like say card. If we want to use and display it in a more elegant way, we can display it something like this. Okay, so you can copy that code as it is. Right here you can copy the mat card, and you can go back to the code, and inside the ng container, I'm adding that particular mat card, and inside the body mat card content you can add this. So looking much better. We can keep improving it, no worries. So you can copy this bank name of the card here, and the name of the bank name here. Okay, so now Chase Bank and Bank of America. We can make it look better, I'm sure, and we will do that as we progress in the series. But today's task was to map the data from dynamic data. It was earlier static, now we made it dynamic using ng container. We learned about content projection, we saw that error, and we can fix it up. Let's see if I can put something like, okay, let me try and see if it works here. You will run into these issues what I am running into, so don't freak out when you see error messages. It's natural. uh, so this is not getting applied. Let me rebuild once and we can see if that works. Alright, so if I say slash credit cards, and if I click on view 1, I get the card. Okay, I'll work on this in the next one, but today's target was to map the data dynamically from API into the view component, which we have done. We'll keep working, and in the next one I'm going to add the next functionality, which is delete. Then we start with add credit card, and then we'll do edit. Okay, we'll also implement search, image upload, etc. as we progress in this. The like I keep saying, the idea is to learn and get better at it. I'll probably find better icons, align this also in the next episode. Please do show me some love. Please do like, share and subscribe my videos. Thank you so much. And if you have any doubts, please reach out to me in the comment section. Thank you.